Hello everyone and welcome back to LewisFiction and welcome to episode 7 of the Spectacular Spider-Man season 4. If you have not watched season 3 yet and this is your first time watching a video of mine, make sure to go back and watch season 3. The full movie version is out now, and then come back and watch season 4 from episode 1 so you are up to date. But with that being said, let's get straight into it. Episode 7, Psychology 101. Broken, Spider-Man lay over Captain Stacy's body. He felt something that he hadn't felt since that torrid day. The day that Uncle Ben died. This was the first major setback. The first major death that affects the life of Peter Parker since Uncle Ben. Peter sobs over his body. Every thought runs through his head. We cut. Rain pours. The city gathers around a funeral as Gwen Stacy and her mother places a flower down on George Stacy's grave. Gwen can't bring herself to say a word in front of the world that is watching. Rather, Jean DeWolf steps up to the stage, the new captain of the NYPD. She will say bravery, heart, courage, and belief were all attributes of George Stacy. He was a good man, and moreover, a father. The whole city appeared to celebrate the life of one of the greatest men to ever grace the surface of New York. But no sign of Peter Parker, only Spider-Man, who sat above the church, watching on. Even though he was acquainted through his identity, Captain Stacy didn't know Peter Parker. He knew Spider-Man. I guess that's what happens when Peter's identity is revealed. The man behind the mask merges into one. He no longer is Peter Parker for the people around him, but Spider-Man. The pressure to live up to the entity, which is the superhero that looks out for everyone, emerges. Which is why people like Gwen can never know. People like Aunt May can never know. Peter will always be Spider-Man. But for the people that know who he is, will always be the ones that pay. Spider-Man knows this. The scene loathes on for a moment. Peter scrunches his eyes. He looks to his left, however, and out of the corner of his eye, he spots something in the trees. The dark figure looks suspicious, almost looking in Spider-Man's direction. Spider-Man leaps towards the tree. The man had white hair and a blue jacket. Peter thought that was weird. He eerily looked like Captain Stacy as he ran off before Peter could catch him. Peter thinks to himself that he must be going insane. After everything that's happened, he needs to take a step back. He's starting to imagine things. We cut to the Watson household, catching up with Mary Jane Watson. At this point in the series, we don't know much about her character, but this scene will show us a little bit more of her. She will be looking at photos of her mother, her and her father from when she was a kid. She is cycling through them, ripping her father out of them by tearing them up, just leaving her and her mother behind. A tear will slightly roll down her cheek, until Anna Watson will call Mary Jane for dinner. She will make her way downstairs, and will have a heartfelt scene with her aunt. Anna will know something is up with MJ, but MJ won't fold. She keeps everything bottled up inside. MJ diverts from the subject itself, and will start talking about something else that is playing on her mind. She thinks back to the end of the events that happened in Season 3, when she found out that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. The fact that she knows has been eating her up inside. She will ask her aunt what would she do in a situation if she knew something about somebody that she probably shouldn't know, and if she should tell them or not. Anna will ask how bad the thing is that she knows. MJ says it's not a bad thing, she's just afraid of the consequences, because they could be rather detrimental. Anna says that she trusts MJ's judgment. She's a great judge of character and a great person at heart. She should do whatever she needs to do. We cut back to Peter, who is sitting by himself on top of his roof. He flicks through his phone to see Gwen's contact. He's in a battle with himself. He shouldn't. He knows he shouldn't. He promised Captain Stacy. But she's going through it right now. This is the time where she would need Peter the most. As her friend first and foremost, he clicks the name and clicks the message button. He types a message saying he's sorry about everything that's happened, and if she needs to talk, he's always there for her. He sends the message and instantly gets a reply. She says that she needs to see him. We cut to later that night where Peter meets up with Gwen. No words are said. He hugs her, but she hugs him tighter. She says that she needed to see him. Peter asks how she's doing, and Gwen says that's a stupid question. An awkward patch follows as Peter thinks to himself that this is a bad idea on every level, but at the end of the day, he's looking out for Gwen as a friend, nothing more. Gwen says that it hurts, and Peter will ask what. Gwen will say that she knew that one day that this would happen, and that one day she would see him leave and never come back. Peter won't know what to say, other than he knows how it feels. He'll say that his Uncle Ben died in a similar way, and he could have never been prepared for how that made him feel. He'll go on to say that the best thing to do is to keep your head high and to carry on, like they would have wanted us to do. Gwen will say he's right. And Gwen will go on to say that this city and everything in it, it's all a bit much sometimes. Peter will nod in agreement. She'll say, however, the one thing throughout her life that has always been there for her, no matter how bad things have gotten or how crazy her life can be, it's Peter Parker. And recently, that's been different. Things have changed. Peter looks down. She knows that she's fighting a losing battle with both of them. And whatever it is, she hopes that he figures it out. But she wants that connection to remain. She doesn't want Peter Parker to not be there for her when she needs him the most. And she wants it the other way around as well. She wants Peter to know that when he feels like he needs a shoulder to cry on, that she can be there for him too. She holds her hand out to him and says, no matter what, can we at least say, friends? Peter will be slightly taken back by this, but will be relieved at the same time. He shakes her hand and agrees. We cut to a more positive, upbeat montage, where Peter makes his new Spider-Man suit, replacing the old homemade suit. He puts it on and goes out for a swing for some fresh air. It's Sunday, and Monday everything resumes back to normal. This might be his last chance to have a little bit of freedom. He gets a call from Aunt May, asking if he's able to drop her bus pass off at the feast centre because she forgot it, and needs to get home. And Peter says of course, he'll be there as soon as he can. But once again, out of the corner of his eye, just like he saw at the funeral, he sees a figure that scarily looks like Captain Stacy. Peter thinks that's weird, and swings down to see what's going on. To nothing, once again, the figure has disappeared. Peter says to himself that he's seeing things. It's like Venom all over again. Peter swings a few more times, until a store bell rings. He swings down to check out what's going on. It's another engineering firm that's being robbed, calling back to what happened in episode 1. All the lights are out, and Peter looks around saying for his spidey sense to not fail him now. And right on cue, it buzzes rampantly as he backflips out of a way of a white streak that glazes across the room. Spider-Man lands and looks up to a glowing white figure staring him down. The man says that he knew this day would come, in a distorted voice. Spider-Man will say, out of all the superpowered bad guys he's faced, you seem like one of the strangest. He'll say that his powers don't even make sense. Annoyed, the man blasts Spider-Man across the room. He gets up, and the man says, you're annoying as everyone said. Spider-Man says, who? He will think to himself, first Taskmaster, and now this. Where are all these guys getting the know-how from? He jumps around, dodging all the man's attacks, before he gets shot across the room and into the wall. The figure picks up some tech and escapes into the night. Spider-Man tries to follow him, but he's escaped. He looks out to the busy New York street, but his glowing white figure can't be seen anywhere. If his powers can be turned on and off, he could be any one of these people, Peter will think to himself. Whatever that was, Peter has to keep an eye out. But first, Aunt May's bus pass. Peter will arrive at the feast centre and drop off her bus pass. She will thank Peter. Peter will look up to Mr. Lee's office as he shuts the blinds closed. Something seems off as Peter's spider sense tingles slightly. Peter will ask May if everything's okay with Mr. Lee. She says he's been off today, but she's sure it's nothing. Peter asks if he's been like this before. May says sometimes, but it's a sensitive topic for him. Peter will ask why? In what way? May will tell Peter that Mr. Lee has had a dark past. He gets depressive episodes. His wife and son were killed in an unfortunate accident a few years back, but he doesn't like talking about it. Peter's suspicion turns to empathy as Captain Stacy plays on his mind once again. We will cut to that night as Peter tries to get some sleep. As he closes his eyes, we get flashbacks of Captain Stacy's death playing over and over again in his head. The moment won't subside. It won't go away. All the memories he had with Captain Stacy, from back in Season 1 all the way to the reveal of Peter's identity in Season 3, will be played in this moment. This moment will act as not just a representation of Peter's emotional state during this time, but a celebration of the Captain Stacy character. Peter will wake up the next morning and will meet Aunt May in the kitchen. Aunt May will mention how he's been very distant with Mary Jane recently. Have them two fallen out or something, she will ask? And Peter will remember what happened a few days ago, and his eyes widen, thinking to himself that he's got to resolve that situation. Peter will think to himself that that one person who, when he's with, everything goes away, is Mary Jane. She's the one person over the last couple of months that he can really just be himself around, and he doesn't want to lose that. We then cut to a secure location. A familiar voice can be heard in the background, saying that the boss is impressed. Breaking Spider-Man down psychologically is working. We pan to none other than Captain Stacy, who smirks sinisterly. He lifts up his hand and rips his face off to reveal the chameleon underneath. The familiar voice carries on talking, and none other than Hammerhead steps out from behind the shadows. Gone since Tombstone's criminal empire had fell, but risen has the remains under a new force. A force that wants nothing more than to destroy Spider-Man. Another familiar voice can be heard in the background too, saying sorry he's late to the meeting. He just had a little skirmish that he had to take care of, as none other than Martin Lee reveals himself. He says he's acquired the tech that the boss required. Hammerhead, who appears to be the orchestrator in all this, says good. Spider-Man won't know what will hit him. We cut back to Peter. He goes to visit MJ. He rings the doorbell and she answers. MJ will be a little blunt at first. She will say to Peter that he needs to make his mind up about what he wants, because he's hurting more than one person. Peter's eyes will widen. He will ask her what she means by that. MJ will scowl almost and say that he knows exactly what it means. If it wasn't obvious before, the scene will hold for a moment as they stare at each other. MJ had never been in such a vulnerable situation such as this before, as a facade put up for most of the time had been broken down. This one boy stood in front of her, makes her feel things that she has never felt before. Panicked, she tells him the absolute truth. Peter, I know you're Spider-Man. Cut to black. We will get a little stinger at the end of this episode, however. We return to the start of the episode. However, this time, it's from the perspective of Venom. He has just stabbed Cletus Kasady, ending the saga. As the police arrive on the scene, he jumps away into the night. Venom will return very, very soon. That is it for Spectacular Spider-Man Season 4, Episode 7. If you did enjoy this episode, make sure to leave a like. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I cannot wait for you guys to see the rest of the season. This is more of the midpoint way through the season, so we are getting ever so closer to the grand finale of Season 4 and into Season 5 as well. So make sure to stay tuned for the rest of the season. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on Thursday for another episode of my Spider-Man animated series. I'll catch you guys later. Take care and peace.